It is Wednesday, June 19th, 2019. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And it was a very sedate, get your ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Wednesday. I'm still having a lot of trouble with this, breathing issues and laryngitis and stuff, so... You know, I'm normally I expect 100% out of myself, and so, you know, when I'm not really feeling it or whatever, it kind of bugs me, you know. And so I took it chill today and just basically tried to make it through class and, you know, not kill myself too much, not try and kill my opponent or anything like that. But it was another one of those more reflective classes where, you know, I was thinking more about, you know, not necessarily pushing myself too hard, you know, trying to conserve energy and stay tight, you know. And so, that's pretty much what I achieved today. You know, we did this variation on pass and keep today, and the gentleman that I rolled with just pretty much dominated me, but he only got me once. And I did manage to sweep him once too, so, you know, there is that. But nonetheless, when it came down to me trying to pass his guard, it was a no-go. It just did not happen. So, you know, I can't be too hard on myself, but, you know, because I did manage to perform relatively well. But I did get my heart rate up a little bit higher than I wanted to, and I just attribute that to his size, strength, and skill. The man is very skilled, and, you know, he's got a belt on me, but he's he on top of that, he's quite large. I mean, I think I got him like on height-wise maybe by 2, maybe 3 inches, but, you know, he's got that on me in width, you know, in that and not just thickness, like width. The guy's like, he's built like a nose tackle. Anyway, so it was pretty chill. We as far as what we were covering today, having a little trouble recalling. I think it's just mostly because I was focused so much on the actual sparring itself. But we did do a guard recover from I think it was a side control kind of situation, and that was pretty useful. It was like a kick out to like a sweep, and I found the energy for that one. It felt right, you know, that if you time pulling in your opponent just perfectly with lifting them with one of your legs, you can get in a really, really sweet sweep there. And I was doing it like with both legs at one point, and that I don't know that was actually correct, but just the same, I did it. Thankfully, though, lately we've been working a lot more takedowns. Like the other day, we were covering on Monday. We were covering single leg takedowns, and then today in class we were covering double leg takedowns. And, you know, while you got to be watching out for your bunghole all the time, you definitely got to be doing double duty if you're doing any kind of like flipping people or throwing people or being thrown or any of that other shit, because that's where you get hurt. It's just that's where you get hurt. And so today I took the ground a little bit hard because the objective was not actually to take down our opponents, and my opponent, being very, very zealous and very, very skilled as he was, just kind of went with the flow of the situation and just flung me. And of course, I wasn't prepared for it, so I wasn't adjusted to try and tuck my head and my shoulder, and I took a really significant landing right on my shoulder, and so that did not feel good at all. So now I'm kind of feeling it. But anyway, I think I'll make it. Kind of a, you know, got a little bit of a tolerance to pain by now. I think I can make it through. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down into some music. And I picked up something new, but I'm not going to start off with that because I just haven't been playing any body count, and I need to, because, you know, we're going to get into that Facebook business today, and yeah. And so here it is, First Dance No lives matter, body count. Here on Coin Metal. Yeah, I got a little distracted there. Yeah, I ran it long, but, my throat and whatnot, I haven't been fully recovered yet, and so, I'm just kind of taking it easy for the moment. But we are going to get pretty deep in this Facebook coin thing business, maybe. I've got this white paper in front of me, and so we're going to try to dive into it and see exactly where it leads us and what it tells us about this fucking thing that we're not getting from other people. I mean, because, everybody's had something to fucking say about this thing. It's going to fail, it's going to be great, it's going to blow up Bitcoin, it's going to destroy Bitcoin. We don't know, so we got to find out. And the way you do that is by reading the motherfucking white paper and not listening to a bunch of fucking talking heads just doing a whole bunch of fucking talking. So anyway, this is on Libra.org, English white paper. Welcome to the official Libra white paper. Section 1, Introduction. Libra's mission is to enable a simple global currency and financial infrastructure that enables or empowers billions of people. This document outlines our plans for a new decentralized blockchain, a low volatility cryptocurrency, and a smart contract platform that altogether aim to create a new opportunity for responsible financial services innovation. Problem statement. The advent of the internet and mobile broadband has empowered billions of people globally to have access to the world's knowledge and information, high-fidelity communications, and a wide range of lower-cost, more convenient services. These services are now accessible using a $40 smartphone from almost anywhere in the world. This connectivity has driven economic empowerment by enabling more people to access the financial ecosystem. Working together, technology companies and financial institutions have found solutions to help increase economic empowerment around the world. Despite this progress, large swaths of the world's population are still left behind. 1.7 billion adults globally remain outside of the financial system, with no access to a traditional bank, even though 1 billion have a mobile phone and nearly 500 million have internet access. For too many, parts of the financial system look like telecommunications networks pre-internet. 20 years ago, the average price to send a text message in Europe was 16 cents per message. Now everyone with a smartphone can communicate across the world for free with a basic data plan. Back then, telecommunication prices were high but uniform, whereas today, access to financial services is limited or restricted for those who need it most. Those impacted by cost, reliability, and the ability to seamlessly send money. All over the world, people with less money pay more for financial services. Hard-earned income is eroded by fees from remittances and wire costs to overdraft and ATM charges. Payday loans can charge annualized interest rates of 400% or more, and finance charges can be as high as $30 just to borrow $100. When people are asked why they remain on the fringe of the existing financial system, those who remain, quote, unbanked, point to not having sufficient funds, high and unpredictable fees, banks being too far away, and lacking the necessary documentation. Blockchains and cryptocurrencies have a number of unique properties that can potentially address some of those problems of accessibility and trustworthiness. Actually, all of them, but they're not going to say that. These include distributed governance, which ensures that no single entity controls the network, open access, which allows anybody with an internet connection to participate, and security through cryptography, which protects the integrity of funds. But the existing blockchain systems have yet to reach mainstream adoption. Mass market usage of existing blockchains and cryptocurrencies has been hindered by their volatility and lack of scalability, which have so far made them poor stores of value and mediums of exchange. Some projects have also aimed to disrupt the existing system and bypass regulation, as opposed to innovating on compliance and regulatory fronts to improve the effectiveness of anti-money laundering. We believe that collaborating and innovating with the financial sector, including regulators and experts across a variety of industries, is the only way to ensure that a sustainable, secure, and trusted framework underpins this new system. Dude, we don't need trust. That's why cryptocurrencies exist. And this approach can deliver a giant leap forward towards a lower cost, more accessible, more connected global financial system. And not through you, Facebook, I'm sorry. The opportunity. As we embark on this journey together, we think it is important to share our beliefs to align the community and ecosystem we intend to spark around this initiative. Number 1. We believe that many more people should have access to financial services and to cheap capital. Number 2. We believe that people have an inherent right to control the fruit of their legal labor. Number 3. We believe that global, open, instant, and low-cost movement of money will create immense economic opportunity and more commerce across the world. 4. We believe that people will increasingly trust decentralized forms of governance. 5. We believe that a global currency and financial infrastructure should be designed and governed as a public good. How about by the public? I think that would. And number 6, we believe that we all have a responsibility to help advance financial inclusion, support ethical actors, and continuously uphold the integrity of the ecosystem. Now, see, that's where you shoot yourself in the foot, Facebook. You can't support ethical actors and help bank everybody. Because half the time that people are unbanked, it's because they've got some sort of fucking, some sort of police record or some previous infractions. They're not necessarily the most well-adjusted people. And so they're just denied inclusion. And so on that basis alone, you'll probably end up denying a whole lot of people that are currently unbanked. Yeah, continuing. Section 2, introducing Libra. The world truly needs a reliable digital currency and infrastructure that together can deliver on the promise of the Internet of Money. Securing your financial assets on your mobile device should be simple and intuitive. Moving money around globally should be as easy, as cost-effective as, and even more safe and secure than sending a text message or sharing a photo, no matter where you live, what you do, or how much you earn. New product innovation and additional entrants to the ecosystem will enable the lowering of barriers to access and cost of capital for everyone and facilitate frictionless payments for more people. Now is the time to create a new kind of digital currency built on the foundation of blockchain technology. The mission for Libra is a simple global currency and financial infrastructure that empowers billions of people. Libra is made up of 3 parts that will work together to create a more inclusive financial system. Number 1, it is built on a secure, scalable, and reliable blockchain. Number 2, it is backed by a reserve of assets designed to have to give it intrinsic value. Yeah, you can't do that. People in the market give it quote-unquote intrinsic value. It's up to them to value it, dude, not you. Number 3, it is governed by the independent Libra Association tasked with evolving the ecosystem. Yeah, that's called a centralized organization. The Libra currency is built on the Libra blockchain. Because it is intended to address a global audience, the software that implements the Libra blockchain is open source, designed so that anyone can build on it and billions of people can depend on it for their financial needs. Imagine an open, interoperable ecosystem of financial services that developers and organizations will build to help people and businesses hold and transfer Libra for everyday use. With the proliferation of smartphones and wireless data, increasingly more people will be online and able to access Libra through these new services. To enable the Libra ecosystem to achieve this vision over time, the blockchain has been built from the ground up to prioritize scalability, security, efficiency in storage and throughput, and future adaptability. Keep reading for an overview of the Libra blockchain or read the technical paper, which we may. The unit of currency is called Libra. Libra will need to be accepted in many places and is easy to access for those who want to use it. In other words, people need to have confidence that they can use Libra and that its value will remain relatively stable over time. Unlike the majority of cryptocurrencies, Libra is fully backed by a reserve of real assets. A basket of bank deposits and short-term government securities will be held in the Libra reserve for every Libra that is created, building trust in its intrinsic value. The Libra reserve will be administered with the objective of preserving the value of Libra over time. Keep reading for an overview of Libra and the reserve, or read more here, and I don't know, we may or may not get into that. The Libra Association is an independent, not-for-profit membership organization headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. The association's purpose is to coordinate and provide a framework for governance for the network and reserve and lead social impact grant-making in support of financial inclusion. God, that's going to be hilarious. You're going to be sponsoring mercenaries. This white paper is a reflection of its mission, vision, and purview. The association's membership is formed from the network of validator nodes that operate the Libra blockchain. Members of the Libra Association will consist of geographically distributed and diverse businesses, nonprofit and multilateral organizations, and academic institutions. The initial group of organizations that will work together on finalizing the association's charter and become quote-unquote founding members upon its completion are, by industry, number 1, payments. MasterCard, PayPal, PayU, Naspers, FinTech Arm, Stripe, and Visa. Technology and marketplaces, Booking Holdings, eBay, Facebook /Calibra, Farfetch, Lyft, Mercado Pago, or Pago rather, there's no Y in there, Spotify AB, Uber Technologies Inc. The next one is telecommunications, Iliad Vodafone Group. Next one, blockchain, Anchorage Bison Trails, Coinbase Inc., Zappo Holdings Limited. Venture Capital, Andreessen Horowitz, Breakthrough Initiatives, Ribbit Capital, Thrive Capital, Union Square Ventures. And nonprofit and multilateral organizations and academic institutions, Creative Destruction Lab, Kiva, Mercy Corps, Women's World Banking. We hope to have approximately 100 members of the Libra Association by the target launch in the first half of 2020. Facebook teams played a key role in the creation of the Libra Association and the Libra blockchain, working with the other founding members. While final decision-making authority rests with the association, Facebook is expected to maintain a leadership role through 2019. Facebook created Calibra, a regulated subsidiary, to ensure separation between social and financial data and to build and operate services on its behalf on top of the Libra network. Once the Libra network launches, Facebook and its affiliates will have the same commitments, privileges, and financial obligations as any other founding member. As one member among many, Facebook's role in governance of the association will be equal to that of its peers. Blockchains are described as either permissioned or permissionless in relation to the ability to participate as a validator node in a permissionless blockchain or permissioned blockchain. Access is granted to run a validator node. In a permissionless blockchain, anyone who meets the technical requirements can run a validator node. In that sense, Libra will start off as a permissioned blockchain. Yeah, it's never going to be anything other than that. To ensure that Libra is truly open and always operates in the best interests of its users, our ambition is for the Libra network to become permissionless. The challenge is that as of today, we do not believe there is a proven solution that can deliver the scale, stability, and security needed to support billions of people and transactions across the globe through a permissionless network. Fuck, we've been doing it for the last decade, dude. One of the association's directives will be to work with the community to research and implement this transition, which will begin within 5 years of the public launch of the Libra blockchain and ecosystem. And now you're backpedaling. First it was in the first half of 2020, now it's within 5 years. Essential to the spirit of Libra, in both its permissioned and permissionless state, the Libra blockchain will be open to everyone. Any consumer, developer, or business can use the Libra network, build products on top of it, and add value through their services as adversaries. Open access ensures low barriers to entry and innovation and encourages healthy competition that benefits consumers. This is foundational to the goal of building a more inclusive financial options for the world. Number 3, the Libra blockchain. The goal of the Libra blockchain is to serve as a solid foundation for financial services, including a new global currency, which could meet the daily financial needs of billions of people. Through the process of evaluating existing options, we decided to build a new blockchain based on these 3 requirements. Number 1, able to scale to billions of accounts, which requires high transaction throughput, low latency, and efficient high-capacity storage system. 2, highly secure to ensure safety of funds and financial data. 3, flexible so it can power the Libra ecosystem's governance as well as future innovation in financial services. The Libra blockchain is designed from the ground up to holistically address these requirements and build on the learnings from existing projects and research. A combination of innovative approaches as well and well understood techniques. This next section will highlight 3 decisions regarding the Libra blockchain. Number 1, designing and using the Move programming language. Number 2, using a Byzantine fault-tolerant consensus approach. Number 3, adopting and iterating on widely adopted blockchain data structures. Move is a new programming language for implementing custom transaction logic and smart contracts on the Libra blockchain. Because of Libra's goal to one day serve billions of people, Move is designed with safety and security as its highest priorities. Move makes insights from security incidents that have happened with smart contracts to date and creates a language that makes it inherently easier to write code that fulfills the author's intent, thereby lessening the risk of unintended bugs or security incidents. Specifically, Move is designed to prevent assets from being cloned. It enables resource types that constrain digital assets to the same properties as physical assets. A source has a single owner, it can only be spent once, and the creation of new resources is restricted. The move language also facilitates automatic proofs that transactions satisfy certain properties, such as payment transactions only changing the account balances of the payer and receiver. By prioritizing these features, Move will help keep the Libra blockchain secure by making the development of critical transaction code easier. Move enables the secure implementation of the Libra ecosystem's governance policies, such as management of the Libra currency and the network of validator nodes. Move will accelerate the evolution of the Libra blockchain protocol and any financial innovations built on top of it. We anticipate that the ability for developers to create contracts will be opened over time in order to support the evolution and validation of Move. Well, from the description of this, I'm just going to take a brief pause. From the description of this and the description of the fact that they're going to have centralized governance and that they are going to be open to innovation and open source and all that business, I can say that time-based attacks and DDoS-based attacks will probably be very, very successful because of the limited distribution of nodes. Continuing on. To facilitate agreement among all validator nodes on the transactions to be executed and the order in which they are executed, the Libra blockchain adopted the BFT approach by using the Libra BFT consensus protocol. This approach builds trust in the network because BFT consensus protocols are designed to function correctly even if some validator nodes, up to 1/3 of the network, are compromised or fail. We've already seen where that doesn't really work out the way you think it does. They only have to take down a limited number of nodes in order to disable that 30% of the network. Anyway, continuing on. This class of consensus protocols also enables high transaction throughput, low latency, and a more energy efficient approach to consensus than proof of work used in some other blockchains. In order to securely store transactions, data on the Libra blockchain is protected by Merkle trees, a data structure used by other blockchains that enables the detection of any changes to existing data. Unlike previous blockchains, which view the blockchain as a collection of blocks of transactions, the Libra blockchain is a single data structure that records the history of transactions and states over time. This implementation simplifies the work of applications accessing the blockchain, allowing them to read any data from any point in time and verify the integrity of that data using a unified framework. The Libra blockchain is pseudonymous and allows users to hold one or more addresses that are not linked to their real-world identity. Oh God, regulators are just going to love that shit. This approach is familiar to many users and developers and regulators. The Libra Association will oversee the evolution of the Libra blockchain protocol and network and will continue to evaluate new techniques that enhance privacy in the blockchain while considering concerns of practicality, scalability, and regulatory impact. For more details, read the technical paper on the Libra blockchain. Detailed information is also available on the Move programming language and the Libra BFT consensus protocol. We've open-sourced an early preview of the Libra testnet with accompanying documentation. The testnet is still under development and APIs are subject to change. Oh, Jesus Christ. Our commitment is to work in the open with the community, and we hope you will read, build, and provide feedback. Yeah, my feedback is that they're still going to be susceptible to time-based attacks and DDoS attacks and probably API-based attacks. Or at least that'll probably be a good entry point for man-in-the-middle attacks, that kind of stuff. The thing with people being able to have multiple wallets on there, I mean, that's a good thing and all, but that you're going to run into all kinds of regulatory issues. All that fucking AML KYC bullshit it's going to impact you there. I mean, because I've got multiple Facebook accounts, and I think only one of them has any of my real world information on it at all. And the rest of them are just itty bitty, teeny tiny bits of real world information, and the rest is utter bullshit. So, y'all have fun with trying to regulate that bullshit. Anyway, I'm going to take a stop off here at section 4 because I'm feeling myself kind of gravel up a tad. And I'm going to throw down a little bit of music, and then we'll get back into this bad boy. Alright, so as far as where to go, we didn't play any Megadeth last time around. So let's do it. A little bit of Megadeth off of old school Megadeth. Killing Is My Business. Last Rites. Love to Death. Here on Coin Metal. And that was Skindred with Nobody. And so let's get back into this Libra business. And we're on section 4, the Libra currency and reserve. This ought to be fun. We believe that the world needs a global, digitally native currency that brings together the attributes of the world's best currencies: stability, low inflation, wide global acceptance, and fungibility. The Libra currency is designed to help with these global needs, aiming to expand how money works for more people around the world. Libra is designed to be a stable digital currency that will be fully backed by a reserve of real assets, the Libra Reserve, and supported by a competitive network of exchanges buying and selling Libra. That means anyone with Libra has a high degree of assurance that they can convert their digital currency into local fiat currency based on an exchange rate, just like exchanging their digital currency into local fiat currency. Exchanging one currency for another when traveling. My apologies there. This approach is similar to how other currencies were introduced in the past to help instill trust in a new currency and gain widespread adoption through its infancy. It was guaranteed that a country's notes could be traded for real assets, such as gold. Instead of backing Libra with gold, though, it will be backed by a collection of low volatility assets, such as bank deposits and short-term government securities in currencies from stable and reputable central banks. It is important to highlight that this means one Libra will not always be able to convert into the same amount of a given local currency, i.e., Libra is not a peg to a single currency. Rather, as the value of the underlying assets moves, the value of one Libra in any local currency may fluctuate. However, the reserve assets are being chosen to minimize volatility so that holders of Libra can trust the currency's ability to preserve value over time. The assets in the Libra Reserve will be held by a geographically distributed network of custodians with investment-grade credit rating to provide both security and decentralization of assets. The assets behind Libra are the major difference between it and many existing cryptocurrencies that lack such intrinsic value and hence have prices that fluctuate significantly based on expectations. Libra is indeed a cryptocurrency, though, and by virtue of that, no, it's not. And by virtue of that, it inherits several attractive properties of these new digital currencies: the ability to send money quickly, the security of cryptography, and the freedom to easily transmit funds across borders. Just as people can use their phones to message friends anywhere in the world today, with Libra, the same can be done with money, instantly, securely, at low cost. Interest on the reserve assets will be used to cover the costs of the system, ensure low transaction fees, pay dividends to investors who provided capital to jumpstart the ecosystem. Read Front Run here. The Libra Association. to support further growth and adoption. The rules for allocating interest in the reserve will be set in advance and will be overseen by the Libra Association. Users of Libra do not receive a return from the reserve. For more on reserve policy and the details of Libra currency, please read here. We're not going to do that quite yet. To make the mission of Libra a reality, I didn't read this. This is Section 5, the Libra Association. To make the mission of Libra a reality, a single global currency and financial infrastructure that empowers billions of people, the Libra blockchain and Libra Reserve need a governing entity that is comprised of diverse and independent members. This governing entity is the Libra Association, an independent, not-for-profit membership organization headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. They should have gone for Zug. Switzerland has a capital of global neutrality and openness to blockchain technology, and the association strives to be a neutral, international institution, hence the choice to be registered there. The association is designed to facilitate the operation of the Libra blockchain, to coordinate the agreement among its stakeholders, the network's validator nodes, in their pursuit to promote, develop, and expand the network, and to manage the reserve. The association is governed by the Libra Association Council, which is comprised of one representative per validator node. Together they make decisions on the governance of the network and reserve. Initially, this group consists of the founding members, businesses, nonprofit and multilateral organizations, and academic institutions from around the world. All decisions are brought to the council, and major policy or technical decisions require the consent of 2/3 of the votes. The same supermajority of the network required in the BFT consensus protocol. Through the association, the validator nodes align on the network's technical roadmap and development goals. In that sense, it is similar to other not-for-profit entities, often in the form of foundations, which govern open source projects. As Libra relies on a growing distributed community of open source contributors to further itself, the association is a necessary vehicle to establish guidance as well as to which protocols or specifications to develop and to adopt. The Libra Association also serves as the entity through which the Libra Reserve is managed, and hence the stability and growth of the Libra economy are achieved. The association is the only party able to create, mint, and or destroy burn Libra. Coins are only minted when authorized resellers have purchased those coins from the association with fiat assets to fully back the new coins. The coins are only burned when the authorized resellers sell Libracoin to the association in exchange for the underlying assets. Since authorized resellers will always be able to sell Libra coins to the reserve at a price equal to the value of the basket, the Libra Reserve acts as a buyer of last resort. No, it acts as an intrinsic manipulator. These activities of the association are governed and constrained by a reserve management policy that can only be changed by a supermajority of the association members. In these early years of the network, there are additional roles that need to be performed on behalf of the association. The recruitment of founding members to serve as validator nodes, the fundraising to jumpstart the ecosystem, the design and implementation of incentive programs to propel the adoption of Libra, including the distribution of such incentives to founding members and the establishment of the association's social impact grant-making program. The additional goal of the association is to develop and promote an open identity standard. We believe that decentralized and portable digital identity is a prerequisite to financial inclusion and competition. Okay, whoa. We've just said previously that people can have multiple accounts and multiple wallets, but somehow or another we believe that decentralized and portable digital identity is a prerequisite to financial inclusion and competition. How do you know I'm not 20 people? You don't. So how are you gonna manage that? A portable digital identity associated with me that's not associated with me? I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. An important objective of the Libra Association is to move towards increasing decentralization over time. This decentralization ensures that there are low barriers to entry for both building and using the network. Oh, Jesus. Oh. And improves the Libra ecosystem's resilience over the long term. As discussed above, the association will develop a path towards permissionless governance and consensus on the Libra network. The association's objective will be to start this transition within 5 years, and in doing so will gradually reduce the reliance on the founding members. In the same spirit, the association aspires to minimize the reliance on itself as the administrator of the Libra Reserve. Oh, Jesus Christ. For more on the Libra Association, please read here, and we're not going to do that. Section 6. What's next for Libra? Today we are publishing this document outlining our goals for Libra and launching Libra.org as a home for the association in all things Libra. It will continue to be updated over the coming months. We are also open sourcing the code for the Libra blockchain and launching Libra's initial testnet for developers to experiment and build upon. There is much left to do before the target launch in the first half of 2020. The Libra blockchain. Over the coming months, the association will work with the community to gather feedback on the Libra blockchain prototype and bring it to a production-ready state. In particular, this work will focus on ensuring the security, performance, and scalability of the protocol and implementation. Number 1, the Libra Association will construct well-documented APIs and libraries to enable users to interact with the Libra blockchain. Number 2, the Libra Association will create a framework for the collaborative development of the technology behind the Libra blockchain using the open source methodology. Procedures will be created for discussing and reviewing changes to the protocol and software that support the blockchain. Number 3, the association will perform extensive testing of the blockchain, which range from tests of the protocol to constructing a full-scale test of the network in collaboration with entities such as wallet services and exchanges to ensure the system is working before launch. Number 4, the association will work to foster the development of the Move language and determine a path for third parties to create smart contracts once the language development has stabilized after the launch of the Libra system. Together with the community, the association will research the technical challenges on the path to a permissionless ecosystem so that we can meet the objective to begin the transition within 5 years of the launch. The Reserve. Number 1, the association will work to establish a geographically distributed and regulated group of global institutional custodians for the Reserve. Number 2, the association will establish operational procedures for the Reserve to interact with authorized resellers and ensure high transparency and auditability. Number 3, the association will establish policies and procedures that establish how the association can change the composition of the reserve basket. The Libra Association. Number 1, we will work to grow the Libra Association Council to around 100 geographically distributed and diverse members, all serving as the initial validator nodes of the Libra blockchain. Number 2, the association will develop and adopt a comprehensive charter and set of bylaws for the association on the basis of the currently proposed governance structure. Number 3, we will recruit a managing director for the association and work with her/him to continue hiring for the association's executive team. Number 4, we will identify social impact patterns aligned with our joint mission and will work with them to establish a social impact advisory board and a social impact program. Section 7. How to get involved. Hack it. The association envisions a vibrant ecosystem of developers building apps and services to spur the global use of Libra. The association defines success as enabling any person or business globally to have fair, affordable, and instant access to their money. For example, success will mean that a person working abroad has a fast and simple way to send money to family back home, and a college student can pay their rent as easily as they can buy a coffee. Our journey is just beginning, and we're asking the community to help. If you believe in what Libra could do for billions of people around the world, share your perspective and join in. Your feedback is needed to make financial inclusion a reality for people everywhere. If you are a researcher or protocol developer, an early preview of the Libra testnet is available under the Apache 2.0 open source license with the accompanying documentation. This is just the start of the process, and the testnet is still an early prototype under development, but you can read, build, and provide feedback right away. Since the current focus is on stabilizing the prototype, the project may initially be slower to take community contributions. However, we are committed to building a community-oriented development process and opening the platform to developers, starting with pull requests as soon as possible. If you want to learn about the Libra Association, read more here. If your organization is interested in becoming a founding member or applying for social impact grants from the Libra Association, read more here. The association will work with the global community in the coming months to continue to partner with policymakers worldwide to further the mission. Section 8. Conclusion. This is the goal for Libra, a stable currency built on a secure and stable open source blockchain backed by a reserve of real assets and governed by an independent association. Our hope is to create more access to better, cheaper, and open financial services no matter who you are, where you live, what you do, or how much you have. We recognize that the road to delivering this will be long, arduous, and won't be achieved in isolation. It will take coming together and forming a real movement around this pursuit. We hope you'll join us and help turn this dream into reality for billions of people around the world. And that's it. So, I think that this is going to be a very interesting ride, no matter which direction it really takes. And you know, as knowledgeable or whatever as I may be, I couldn't state for you definitively what the likely outcome of this is. However, by looking at the people that are currently speaking up about it, I think we might at least find out what the regulators think and how they're reacting to it. And so I got this article here on CoinDesk. And I want to take a moment and just continue to go into Libra for a moment. The issues that I see with it is that it will have quote unquote centralized governance, at least at some point during the run of it. And for me, this kind of casts a shadow on any assurances of it really being open source and open to the public, because Facebook has kind of a reputation already. When Facebook was first started, in interviews with Mark Zuckerberg, he was like, "Oh yeah, people have ownership over their data, and we won't sell it or anything like that." And that's like their primary business model now is selling your fucking data. So it's like, who do you really believe here? Do you believe the people that have this track record of abusing your trust, or do you believe that they're not necessarily being forthright with what they're saying? I tend towards the latter, and there's already been some associated kind of backsteps about this. Like right before the release of the white paper, I'd read something where this guy was saying like, "Oh yeah, white papers, they're just like a general outline of how the thing is supposed to work. It's not necessarily like representative of the final product." And I'm saying to myself, that's an out for a fucking bait and switch right there. If you intend to at some point or another default on your original design plans and present something entirely different than what you had originally been talking about for the previous several years, that is bait and switch. That is fraud. And they tell you in no uncertain terms that they intend to change their shit over time. So, I mean, that's like double outs for, we've turned this into a digital gulag. Hey, man, you decided that you wanted to get involved. There was no gun to your head. and they'll be free and clear on that note. Unless, of course, there's some sort of modification to some of the regulations concerning, bait and switch fraud, all that other. But nonetheless, we went through this with what was that, bet something or other, the white paper that I read the other day. I just posted that for those of you who missed that during the live broadcast. But I had read a white paper for a betting platform, and they introduced all kinds of wonderful sounding language in their white paper, kind of disabusing you of any idea of liability on their part should they fuck up. And I can tell you without a doubt right now, they are going to run into regulatory issues with regard to custodianship, money transmitting, and all that other thing. And none of the information that they provided in their white paper suggesting that they were somehow exempt or whatever from it is actually going to stand up in a court of law. And that's really where it matters. I hope you didn't hear that. But that's really where it matters, is when a judge is trying to assign liability for something, he's not reading your fucking white paper that has all that language in there that relieves you of legal liability. He's going by what people in your position normally have as far as legal liability is concerned, and deriving his judgment based on that. And of course his own judgment. That's what he's there for. Or she, whatever the case may be. But the point being that, all these kids that think that, if they say, we're not a custodian, that somehow they're free of any custodial regulation, that's a bunch of bullshit. I don't know who's lawyering you and telling you that shit, that, as long as you say we're not going to hold on to the money, everything is fine and we're not a custodian. But if you have any kind of say over the value of the currency, its current any of the policies on it or anything like that. You are acting as a custodian of other people's funds. If you can change a policy and affect the exchange rate or the function of the coin, you are a custodian in that aspect, in that capacity. What gets Bitcoin developers and Bitcoin miners out of that is that the developers present the code and the miners decide whether or not they want to support it. They're not under any obligation to follow it to the 1 or 0. They can decide which BIPs they want to enforce, but that's left up to them. And so that kind of shifts the blame for custodialship or any of that other shit away from both the devs and the network in proper. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. Like I said, I'm getting a little gravelly and I'm trying to preserve my voice because, we still got a little bit to get through. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And I'm wanting some Slipknot here. I have not been playing any, and it's necessary. You got to have Slipknot now and then. And so as far as where to go, Custer, here on Coin Metal. And that was Voivod with Obsolete Beings. Kind of drifts into a slower part there, but I figure it was time to jump off anyway. So yeah, we covered the whole white paper for Libra, and it'll be entertaining to, in the least, to see how the thing rolls out and how it actually functions. But despite the fact of not having seen that yet, we've already got people talking about it. And mostly people that would be like regulating it and shit. And so here, this one's on CoinDesk. Senate Banking Committee schedules July hearing on Facebook's Libra crypto. And this is by Nicholas D. and Stan Higgins. So, double penis. And this is authored on June 19th, 2019 at 1950 UTC. The U.S. Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs will hold a hearing on July 16th regarding Facebook's new cryptocurrency, Libra. The hearing, examining Facebook's proposed digital currency and data privacy considerations, comes in the wake of calls from members of Congress to more closely examine Libra and its potential risks. There have even been calls to halt work on the project until hearings are held. In light of those comments, a Facebook representative said, quote, "We look forward to responding to lawmakers' questions as this process moves forward." The July 16th meeting will be held at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and as of yet, no information about the witnesses has been released. The hearing will be broadcast to the public. It was the Banking Committee that wrote an open letter to Facebook last month seeking answers about its work on Libra, including how it works and to what extent the social media giant has sought input from regulators and market watchdogs. As of this week, Facebook hadn't directly responded to that letter, with a representative telling CoinDesk that, quote, "We received the letter and we are addressing the senator's questions." After today's hearing news broke, committee member and 2020 presidential candidate Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeted that, quote, "Facebook has too much power and a terrible track record when it comes to protecting our private information. We need to hold them accountable, not give them the chance to access even more user data. Break up big tech." Oh, fuck. These people are going to end up regulating like millions of people into fucking jail over nothing, and then they're going to end up putting them back out on the street later on with completely ruined career prospects. I think their concerns are a little overblown. These are things that are supposed to be taken care of by the market. not by a fucking Senate Judiciary Committee or Senate Committee or Judiciary Committee or fucking Congress Committee or whatever the fuck. No, the market at large determines this shit. Whether or not we use it, how we use it, whether or not we choose to participate in it, the government has absolutely no control, zero control over these things. So them even like piping up and like talking about it, they should just shut the fuck up. I'll just be honest there. Shut the fuck up. Break up Facebook. You don't have to use Facebook. Nobody puts a gun to your head and says, use Facebook. It's really cool, man. You better use it or I'm gonna fucking shoot you. Nobody says that. Nobody forces you to use Facebook. So the idea that they're going to be able to force you to use Libra crypto is fucking bullshit. Just utter bullshit. You know, the other place where I think they're going to really run into a lot of regulatory friction is on this idea of using securities and whatnot as backing collateral for their coin. And then being able to burn or whatever. That is so fucking custodial. And I mean, it puts you in a real position to be able to manipulate the market price of your token. If you're controlling the supply of the what do you call it? The underlying capital, the collateral that's backing your coin. If you're able to adjust it at will, you are a fucking custodian. You might as well be the Federal motherfucking Reserve. And so pretending that you get to be the Federal Reserve, but not be the Federal Reserve, or not have to pay for all the licenses and the regulation and all that other bullshit that Federal Reserve members do, is fucking bullshit. You're just going to end yourself up in jail. And with a lot of lawsuits. So you'll probably be broke too. But yeah, I mean, those are just the regulatory pain points that I see them facing. But again, I don't see that the government has any like preemptive right to tell them that they can't do it. You know, the intersections where they do have a right to say something are where it intersects with the current financial and banking system, and of course, the units that they issue and reserve and collateralize in, and of course their other portfolio occupying assets. You know, and I think it's great that Facebook is trying. I really do, but you know, I see that they've got an uphill battle ahead of them, and it'll be really interesting to see how it pans out. But yeah, you know, Elizabeth Warren, Facebook is a private company, and you need to just STFU about trying to fucking break them up. They are who they are. You know, I mean, and we have a choice as to whether or not we want to use them. You know, if we want to, we can go back to some basic-ass private messaging service and not even have to deal with them. Just circumvent them entirely, just like you. So, yeah, I think it's fucking silliness. Anyway, I got other stuff here about it. This next one here is on CoinDesk again. Halt Libra. U.S. lawmakers call for hearings on Facebook's crypto. I want to get a little bit further into that. This is by Nicholas D. again. So yes, penis. June 18th, 2019 at 21:47 UTC. The head of the U.S. House of Representatives Financial Services Committee wants Facebook to stop developing its new Libra cryptocurrency network, at least temporarily. Congresswoman Maxine Waters asked Facebook to halt development on the Libra network until hearings can be held. The move follows a letter written to her by her Republican counterpart, Representative Patrick McHenry. McHenry wrote, quote, "We know there are many open questions as to the scope and scale of the project and how it will conform to our global financial regulatory framework," adding, quote, "It is incumbent upon us as policymakers to understand Project Libra. We need to go beyond the rumors and speculations and provide a forum to assess this project and its potential unprecedented impact on the global financial system. In a statement, Waters said, quote, "With the announcement that it plans to create a cryptocurrency, Facebook is continuing its unchecked expansion and extending its reach into the lives of its users, only if they let it." She added that there is currently, quote, "no regulatory framework to provide strong protections for investors, consumers, and the economy when it comes to cryptocurrencies." Yeah, and there's never going to be either, or at least not one that most of us will actually listen to. A lot of the entities that you currently quote-unquote regulate might have to listen to you, but that might become too costly for us to continue to do business with them, and we'll just develop some way to work around them or simply avoid using them. Continuing on. Quote, "We look forward to responding to lawmakers' questions as the process moves forward," a Facebook spokesperson said in a statement. Growing crowd. Waters and McHenry joined a small bipartisan group of lawmakers in expressing concern about the Libra project. Earlier, Senate Banking Committee ranking member Sherrod Brown said on Twitter that Facebook has exploited user data in the past and cannot be allowed to, quote, "run a risky new cryptocurrency out of a Swiss bank account without oversight." The Libra currency will be governed by a Swiss foundation. The Senate Banking Committee wrote a letter to Facebook last month asking a number of questions about how the project would work and how Facebook would handle user data. A spokesperson for the company told CoinDesk on Tuesday that the social media giant had yet to respond to the letter and was working on answers to the questions, as we heard in the last article. So yeah, there you have it. A lot of noise, little action so far. And like I said, I think as this evolves, as it will clearly do, that we're going to find out that that it's either going to work or it's not going to work. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Whether or not it actually launches, that's not just a technical question at this point, as regulators clearly want to keep a close eye on Facebook and see that they're not developing something that would threaten their existence. But I think this type of concern over what's going on in cryptocurrencies and digital currencies in general is kind of overblown and a little bit too late. The time to have these concerns was 2010. Or 2011 when Bitcoin first got a valuation in US dollars. That was the point to be concerned. When it hit dollar parity, should have been way more concerned than you were. But now that it's coming up on close to $10,000 again, it's too fucking little, too fucking late. This horse is out of the corral and it's off to the races. Whether or not it'll be any different for Facebook, I think it will. Mostly because they are a centralized entity, even though they plan to be running it via some sort of subsidiary. I don't care that it's a non-profit organization. They're going to be a goddamn custodian. Because they are regulating a global currency that supposedly has some sort of intrinsic link to all kinds of securities and shit. So, yeah, I'm sure oversight will be involved. But given the goals that they're talking about and also the ways that Facebook was talking about going about them via Libra, I think that they're going to run into some real regulatory friction on the fact that, they're trying to include everybody, but they've already kind of stipulated there would be some sort of conditions or differential between what service you receive or what kind of service or what rate you pay or all that other shit. And so, it's going to be a real test. because they're proposing to discriminate between users. At the same time, they're suggesting that they're going to be including the entire planet into this thing. So, I mean, you got to fucking pick. You're either going to be including the 18 pseudonymous, IDs that I've put up on Facebook, or you're going to, have it encoded to my DNA with all kinds of AML, KYC bullshit just to satisfy regulators. In which case, you become immediately unappealing to everybody that's involved in cryptocurrencies, or at least I would say probably 95% of them. There's that there's that 5% that don't know or don't care that cryptocurrencies were supposed to be pseudonymous, if not anonymous. And so, it doesn't make too much difference to them. And there's probably a slightly larger contingent among that populace. But the vast majority of people that are involved in cryptocurrencies got involved simply to avoid centralized organizations such as the Federal Reserve or their government or Facebook in defining and determining how exactly they're going to behave financially. That kind of took away those decisions from a lot of organizations. And so, you gotta look at what you can do with cryptocurrencies and what kind of regulatory requirements would be asked of an entity such as Facebook, and consider the reality there that there is going to be a significant cost differential between cryptocurrencies that you can currently download a wallet for free and buy coins to put in and use those coins as you see fit. The differential between that and your Facebook account that's tied to some identifier, whether it be your MAC address for your computer or your state issued ID or some other bullshit like that. I mean, it's the freedom differential alone, I think, will make Facebook coin Libra a much less appealing option by comparison. And I believe that oversight will come at a cost, and that cost will be bared by the users of Facebook coin. But that is just my 2 cents on the subject. I'm sure it'll be fun, and I'm sure it'll be exciting. But one thing I don't see this doing is establishing any kind of framework that is going to be easily translatable over to cryptocurrencies. I just don't see it. If this is something where they're kind of, scamming together, where Facebook is presenting this as a means to establish some sort of regulatory framework to try and blanket over completely independently mined cryptocurrencies, and I don't see it happening. I think the fact that they're opening all that, it's kind of meant to entrap cryptocurrencies such as Doge or even Bitcoin under some sort of regulatory rubric that currently doesn't apply to them in any way, shape, or form. But let's get serious. Facebook's coin Libra is not a cryptocurrency by any of the definitions that we go by. The fact that Ripple is involved, and Ripple works the way it does, that's not any kind of exemption for Facebook. I mean, Ripple is still facing accusations that they're some sort of security issuer, and just because they have the entity and the coin separate in some way, shape, or form doesn't actually make them not security issuers. I think Facebook is going to be facing the same kind of issues. But like I said, we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. Got plenty of time to watch and see what happens. And it is with that I'd like to close out this episode. Thank you very, very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. Sorry we were a little bit long on songs and all that, but yeah, I'm still recovering from laryngitis. Hopefully I'll be fully up and operational on Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when we come back. But until then, I want y'all to trade safe. Do your homework. watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Not even Facebook. They might even try and get access to it. And it is with that I'd like to sign this one off. And as far as our last dance is concerned, I've been dying to play 12-Foot Ninja like all night long, and just haven't been able to figure out a way to kind of sneak it in there on you. But I think I can do it now. And so our last dance for the evening, One Hand Killing by 12-Foot Ninja. Thank you very much for listening. You all have an excellent evening. Good night.